Hello everybody, it is 10 PM here in the UK, 5 PM Eastern Standard Time. That's become a bit of a staple and tradition for these streams, but this one, just on YouTube, is going to be our Sunday, sort of laid back, chill, relaxed YouTube stream. Hi everybody, I am Tom Colohue, and today we're going to be talking wrestling. We're going to be talking the latest news about Bray Wyatt, we're going to be talking about Sasha Banks' return, the plans for the second night of the WWE Draft, and of course, we're going to be answering any questions that you have to ask as well. So I'm going into this a little bit unusually, without much in the way of planning, to be completely honest. This is one of those shows where we have a lot that we're going to be discussing. I want to talk about what's going to happen on night 2 of the draft. I want to go into quite a bit of detail on that because there's quite a bit of detail to cover. There is in fact quite a lot of information worth covering, and literally as I'm streaming, my stream system is trying to give me a lot of information as to, oh, you can do this. I don't care, I'm in the middle of a stream right now. Welcome, Michael, how you doing, man? You really never miss a show, do you? Really never miss a show, you wonderful person. So I'm going to keep this quite chill. I hopefully have fixed the audio issues that we've been having recently, the audio dropping out. We're going to try and stream for about an hour as per usual on these shows, and as I say, we're going to talk wrestling. We're going to talk a little bit about Halloween coming up and what I'm considering doing for Halloween that you guys may quite enjoy. Halloween, of course, is on a Sunday this year, so there's plenty of stuff we can do, given that Halloween is my day off. So I can take that day off and I can do wonderful, wonderful things with it and make it a stream day, much like I did quite a while ago now, I think maybe 2 months ago, for our Last of Us live stream. So there's certainly a number of wonderful things that we can do to make that fun. But of course, we're also going to talk about the news that's come through over the last few days, Bray Wyatt and his contract, the rumours and the rumour killers, talking about Sasha Banks' returns and information about that, and of course, the draft. Welcome everyone, this is Ask Me Anything. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Tom Colohue. You can ask me literally anything you would like about wrestling, about football, about life, about Halloween. Ask me whatever you would like and I will endeavour to answer it. Ethan says, yo Tom. Yo Ethan, how you doing, man? Michael says, not too bad, so that you were scheduled for now and I'm pretty bored, so it's good timing. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I would not be streaming on a Sunday if I wasn't. It's one of those. I found myself with time today. And if I'm going to have time, I may as well use time to do something productive. So I reached out to a lot of people, tried to find as much information as I could about the Bray Wyatt situation that's going on there, about Alexa Bliss as well, and more information on that. And I'll, of course, recap a lot of what I've said in spoiler warning over the last few days about Fox and USA and about the draft. So I've got time. I may as well jump in and have something to say. Hello, Conrad. How the devil are you? Glad to see you, mate. Welcome to the show. If anyone hasn't and would like to follow Conrad at Everything Pro Wrestling, he presents a really great show over there, really good insight and a really good mind for wrestling. So I do highly recommend his work. One of the wonderful ways in which you guys can really support me and my YouTube is just to click like on the video. Literally, just a quick like goes a long, long way, can really help us find new viewers. And I do find that when you look at the amount of likes we have, our viewership is usually just over that amount of likes. So please do consider doing so and subscribing if you haven't. Welcome, Kervin. How you doing, mate? Welcome, everybody. So let's get to our first thing that I want to talk about, and that's as regards Bray Wyatt and his contract offers. Now, Bray Wyatt has had a number of contract offers, but he hasn't signed on any dotted lines because he's not legally able to at the moment. He cannot sign on any dotted lines whatsoever. Regular viewers will have noticed that when it came to the Bray Wyatt to AEW news, I steered very, very clear of it. I kept as much distance as possible because of the sources of information that it was coming from. It was coming from the Wrestling Observer, who we've spoken about before. They've been proven wrong a lot recently, at least when it comes to Meltzer and Alvarez, whereas Andrew Zarian has been proven correct recently, but he wasn't the one reporting this. They are both, all three are Wrestling Observer newsletter workers. In addition to this, it was being reported by WrestlingNews.co. I'm going to be entirely blunt here. I have seen WrestlingNews.co reported in a lot of different places. I have very rarely seen them correct. And here's one of those things that I've been talking about for a long time when it comes to wrestling media. If someone's proven wrong a lot, you really need to stop reporting them. It seems that people are extremely selective as to who they consider to be worth following, who they consider to be worth reporting, and who they don't, whether they're right or not. And I do feel a lot of the big name wrestling outlets who aggregate do tend to kind of ignore the fact that several outlets have been getting a lot wrong recently, whereas certain people, they'll just sweep them under the rug as quickly as they possibly can. Case in point. So let's talk a bit more about Bray Wyatt and what has actually been happening. Well, when it comes to the report that Bray Wyatt was going to be featuring on Dynamite, it was clear of the mark. It was considerably clear and wide of the mark. I feel that the reporters who reported about this saw that it was close to the anniversary, if not the anniversary, of John Huber's passing, and decided this was the right time to wheel out a false report. That's what I feel on this one. Now, I don't know who originally reported it. I know that it's been referenced by Brian Alvarez, but I don't believe he initially outright said it, and others have reported it as well. So I think there's a lot of hyperbole here, and we have to steer... We have to give hyperbole a very wide berth, because it's dangerous and it's damaging, and it really does have a negative impact on the overall wrestling scene and the overall wrestling reporting scene. It creates the image that wrestling reporting cannot be trusted. Though, to be fair, at the same time, wrestling reporting, as you've seen on the Cage Side Seats Rumour Look Back, if you've been checking that as often as I have, has a record of about 54 to 56% accuracy. That's not good. That's really quite bad. Really very bad. And this comes at a time when the most prolific reported that is wrong is Wrestling Observer. That has been proven time and time again in those Wrestling Rumour Lookbacks. What has actually happened with Bray Wyatt? Well, let me tell you a bit more. Bray Wyatt has not signed any contracts for any particular company as of yet. He hasn't been able to because he's been under the 90-day non-compete clause, much like everyone else from the main roster, apart from Aleister Black and Ricochet, were under the 90-day non-compete clause. Reports of him having an option to remove that 90-day non-compete clause are false. They didn't happen. They absolutely did not happen. He did not opt out of any 90-day non-compete clause, nor would the option have been offered to him. While there have been discussions with AEW, or at least some ideas passed across, it is not believed at this time that AEW have a firm interest in a character like Bray Wyatt. And Wyndham Rotunda, the man behind the act, is only really interested in portraying that level of a cult character. A number of other companies have been interested. Yes, Impact has been mentioned, but they are not the only company. There is a great variety, including AAA, for example, and a number of others going a bit further afield. They are interested in Bray Wyatt, but the reason that Impact's name is being mentioned is because of their interest in the broken Matt Hardy gimmick. It is believed that Impact would be a better home for a Bray Wyatt-style character. Also believed to be going to Impact is Braun Strowman. This is something that I've said before, but at the same time, he also has a number of offers. Those offers, however, remain on the table. Once again, cannot be actually signed at this point in time. Bray Wyatt cannot sign a contract right now. He is still under his 90-day non-compete, and anyone who had reported that he was going to be at AEW were being opportunistic. Conrad says, thank you, Tom. No worries, Conrad. You do great work. You've had me on before. You've done me a service over the years, and I very much appreciate that. I will always put you over. Sean says, hello, Tom. Welcome, Sean. KSJ says, wait, what's this, Tom? Special episode? A little bit of a special episode, yes. We did a Sunday show this time last week. It is purely on YouTube, and the idea was we were having a pre-show to our Extreme Rules watch-along on Twitch. Now, I'm still going to be doing the watch-alongs on Twitch. Twitch will still be my home, as it were, for anyone who hasn't already followed. I will put my Twitch into the chat because that's where most of our work takes place. However, YouTube has started to grow quite efficiently and quite successfully recently, and a large part of that is that over the last 2 weeks, we've had extremely good watch time. a large part of that extremely good watch time is these shows. But we also have to factor in the effort that you guys have made. I've spoken before, one of the best ways you can support a YouTube channel like this is just to stick on a video and let it play, because the watch time and the average viewership being quite high makes a huge difference. Literally a huge difference. We have been very successful in making that happen recently, and you've seen it in the videos. We've had videos getting 100 views, 100 views, 100 views, 200 views, 300 views. The Bailey video is already on more than 400 views, approaching 500. This has been a great success. YouTube could potentially be a moneymaker in the future. I want to make sure I give it all the love I can. So I'm doing some special streams, some Monday and Friday streams in the lead up to spoiler warning, and some Sunday streams just because. So yeah, bit of a special episode. Michael says, I thought it was bizarre how it went from Bray to debut in AEW on Dynamite to Bray is likely to go to Impact. I'm pretty sure all from Meltzer. Wrestling Observer, yes, but I believe Brian Alvarez also has played a part in the reporting there. So I don't want to go there and say this person said this when I haven't seen a report from them. I do believe a large part of it was Brian Alvarez. There have been a number of rumor killers out now. I know Fightful had one behind their paywall, but yeah, there is a reason I steered clear from this one in spoiler warning. Regular viewers will be fully aware that I dodged any questions about it. One, because I didn't know, but the information I had was just completely different, suggesting that the information that was being put out there was not necessarily accurate information. WWE Champion wants Sheamus to stay on Raw. I think Sheamus is going to stay on Raw, but I think a lot of people are going to be moving across to Smackdown to balance out the fact that Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are going to be moving to Raw. Conrad says, did anyone figure out who they messed up on the non-compete clause like Malachi Black? I remember hearing about that. Ricochet was the other name who had the 30-day non-compete clause. He has since signed a contract amendment. Sasha is going to Raw, as is Bailey. I think Becky is going to Raw WWE Champion. I think Sasha will be staying. Yes, the user, I remember you very much. I do apologise for the fact that I am no longer doing the Raw and SmackDown watch parties. I was essentially invited into the Twitch Sports team, which meant that I could no longer dual stream. And because I could no longer dual stream, I had to make a decision between Twitch or YouTube. Ultimately, I have rent to pay, and I made the decision to support Twitch. At the same time, though, I can still do independent videos and live shows right here on YouTube, and that is very much the plan. If you are just joining us, please do remember to click like on the video. That's a big help to our viewership. Subscribe if you haven't, and be sure to ask whatever questions you would like. This is Ask Me Anything. So that's the news on Bray Wyatt. WWE Champion says Miz is going to SmackDown. I don't see that personally. I think the Miz, with his connections to USA Network, particularly Miz and Mrs, for example, will be staying on Raw. They need talkers there. KSJ says think Miz will stay on Raw because Morrison's there. Also, he has 2 USA shows. Similar to what I've said. AJ Styles is staying on Raw because SmackDown has too many stars. Again, somebody's got to go to SmackDown. That's the thing. I think AJ Styles will stay on Raw, but somebody's got to go to SmackDown. I just think it'll be lower down the card. I'd definitely be keeping my eye on Bobby Lashley at the moment. Bobby Lashley, for me, is someone who could very, very easily be going straight to SmackDown, together with the Hurt Business, who have been recently reunited. Then we could get Hurt Business versus Bloodline. Usos, I think, will definitely still be going to SmackDown. Sean says, how are you? I'm very good, thank you, Sean. Very good. I've had a really lazy Sunday, rested up real nice, and just played a bit of a game and watched a bit of TV and ate a lot of food. Just had a great time. Welcome, Noob. How you doing, man? WWE Champion says, hi, Tom. Can you do an update on Sheamus? He's recently had surgery to fix a nose again. He should be back in 5 or 6 weeks, probably on Raw. Has Kevin Owens signed a contract yet? Not to my knowledge, no. The plan is essentially to job him out, as it were, which he accepts and respects at the same time. It's not unusual, and it's kind of tradition in wrestling that when you go out on your back. That's how it should be, and he completely understands that. So I feel if he doesn't sign a new contract at any point soon, he will be taking a lot of losses. Conrad says road to 1k. Indeed, mate, indeed. We are currently on, I believe it's 714. which is very, very good. Very good indeed. And now it's all about that watch time. 7:14, yes. And now it is all about that watch time. The real important thing that I want to focus on is getting the watch time up, because for the next 3 months, 12 months ago, I wasn't doing anything on YouTube. Literally nothing. I wasn't here. So just by having shows and getting watch time, we are making up that 4,000 hours. I'm currently on about 1900. By the end of the next 3 months, I expect to be close to, if not at, that 4,000. At that point, 300 more subscribers, and guys, we're making money. Once we're monetized, sky's the limit. Noob says, do you think Asuka is still going to Smackdown even though Charlotte Flair is there? Yes, I do. Asuka, however, doesn't need to feud with Charlotte. She also doesn't need to feud with Sasha. I'm honestly not sure who Asuka's going to feud against, to be completely honest with you. It's a difficult one to read, but I think Baszler will be going to SmackDown. I think Shayna Baszler's one who could do very well over there and slowly build up to facing off with Charlotte Flair. I think that makes perfect sense, and it's something I expect to see as well. Sean says, did you see the report from Wrestling Edge that Alexa Bliss asked for her release due to online bullying over Bray's release, but it was denied? That report came from Billy Batty. As such, I do not trust it. That simple. Also, it's completely contradictory to everything I have heard and everything that has been reported since, that she's taking a brief break for a sinus surgery. Now, when I was asked about this the day that the news came out via Wrestling Inc., I did say she's just taken a break, and it's a planned break. It's an expected break. We'll see her back in a couple of months. That's basically still the case. Even though she's getting surgery, it's not a medical surgery, as it were. It's not something she immediately needed to stop wrestling in order to fix. More information, not fully aware of. So I don't want to go into too much detail on it because I don't have further information on that. But it's one of those, the idea that Alexa Bliss asked for her release, I have not heard anything about that. Nothing at all. WWE Champion says the reason that Sasha is going to Raw is she's been on SmackDown for 2 years. Also, to me, she's a Raw person. That is not a valid reason. The fact that she's been on SmackDown for 2 years. Carmella's been on SmackDown for 6 years. So I don't see that as a reason. Also, I know you may find her a Raw person. I found Roman a Raw person. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. That's something definitely worth talking about. Kervin says Fox wants Charlotte on SmackDown. My problem is she is the Raw Women's Champion now. She will be trading the belt with the SmackDown Women's Championship when someone essentially passes her on the way to the other side. Now the question really is about who is going to hand her over the belt, because it's either going to be Becky or Bianca Belair. That's what I'm seeing going forwards. The match in Saudi Arabia, the triple threat, will determine who hands the belt to Charlotte, but the expectation is they're just going to do a belt swap. And that belt swap essentially will mean that Charlotte Flair becomes the SmackDown Women's Champion. It's not a new championship reign, it's a continuation of the previous one. So yes, Charlotte's on SmackDown now, and someone will be passing her the championship on the way back. It'll be a contentious moment for sure, but this is something that they've done previously with the New Day and the Street Profits with the Tag Team Championships. That's how the WWE have been walking themselves out of that problem. WWE Champion also says, I hope Ricochet is going to SmackDown. I hope so too. I think he'll do better there than he's had for opportunities recently. SmackDown needs bodies, and Ricochet can be a solid mid-carder. Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura could be a great match. Cody, welcome mate, says, did you see that Edge apparently called FDR to go take care of Rollins on Friday? It was clever. It was very cleverly done, and it guaranteed a good little bit of social media, made it feel a bit more real. I always think back to when The Undertaker invaded the house of the McMahons looking for Stephanie, and when Vince McMahon called the police, he was told, this isn't real, we're watching it on TV. It was so cleverly done. So cleverly done. You kind of have to respect it. That extra realism makes a real big difference. Michael says, I wish they would vacate the title rather than swapping belts. If the SmackDown Women's Championship is still held by a SmackDown Women's Champion, then it may be a vacation, and it may be that the Queen of the Ring becomes the new champion. There's a number of possibilities, but that would essentially be a really, really easy way to give Charlotte Flair another championship reign. The user says, is there any more word on WWE selling to Disney? No, because there was never any word on WWE selling to Disney. There was never any actual word. It was all speculation and false reports. There was definitely a lot of people saying WWE are going to sell to Disney, but nobody that I would trust with that information was saying it. Nobody who I am looking at and saying, yeah, they're always right about what they say. No, nobody like that was saying it. There were certainly rumors, there was certainly concepts and speculation, but I've heard repeatedly the same thing. There is no plan right now for the WWE to be sold. None whatsoever. Sheamus is not going to be the next WWE Champion Hall of Pain. More likely it's going to be Seth Rollins. Kervin says, big mistake not drafting Toni Storm to Raw. Disagree. I think she can do well on SmackDown. They just needed to get some people out of her way. Zelina Vega moving across to Raw could be very good. She needs people to compete against. So maybe people a little bit lower down the card could be a very good thing. The user says, Tom, do you know what time Crown Jewel is on in the UK? No, but it'll be early. It'll likely be somewhere around 5 p.m, 6 p.m. that the show will start over here in the UK. Meaning it'll be a noon show across in the US. And Kervin says, no update about Nia Jax. There's no update to be had, mate. She's currently injured. She's expected to be out until she's fully recovered. And then when she does return, it'll probably be for a Royal Rumble or a post-WrestleMania thing, which is very similar to how it was last year, I believe it was, when she made her return just after WrestleMania. She was cleared before that, but they didn't have any storyline for her, so they just waited. The idea being that she could return for the Women's Battle Royal, which is also when Rhea Ripley could have debuted and picked up the win there, because then it would have been Lacey Evans versus Charlotte, and different things would have happened. Hall of Pain, I can tell that you're a Mark Henry fan. Not entirely sure that I agree with what you're saying there. It depends who was booked to win. I think that's the thing that you're not remembering. Sean says, I think Drew could be the guy to beat Roman in my opinion. Drew seems the obvious choice, yes. Drew McIntyre could very easily be the one who defeats Roman. It seems purpose-built for this year's upcoming WrestleMania. Sorry, next year's WrestleMania, I should say. It seems purpose-built and perfect for it. Cody says, at this point, WWE should just sell the company to NBC and Peacock. Why? It's making them billions of dollars. Would you sell something that makes you billions of dollars? I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. And Noob says, any injury update on Eva Marie? I don't believe she's actually injured. I believe it's a kayfabe injury, but she's been selling it very well. Right, we're going to get to a bit more conversation topics. Before we do, please do remember, if you haven't yet, please do click subscribe. And if you haven't yet, please do click like. Average viewership is usually just above our amount of likes, so it makes a really big difference. Please do consider jumping in and clicking that like button if you're enjoying the work that we do here. There will be more streams like this, so also I do advise, if you can, click that notification bell once you've subscribed. If you are a subscriber and you haven't yet, that means you'll get notifications for every video going into your notifications tab, which means that you won't miss a thing. We will be streaming again 6 p.m. tomorrow with a preview of the second night of the draft for WWE Raw. Jermaine says, welcome mate. Hi Tom, just got here. Any news on Sasha Banks? Essentially, I'm not going to be able to say this is why she was gone, but I can confirm definitely not COVID. Definitely not COVID. Believed to be a niggling injury that she is still technically working with. But more than that, there isn't that much to say. Sasha Banks' return, however, she was cleared pretty quickly. She was never, she was out of action very, very briefly, and she wasn't needed by the WWE at SummerSlam, which is why during the night of the go-home show of SmackDown, she was already in Vegas. With this in mind, they waited until she said, I'm ready to return, and immediately brought her back into a storyline. The storyline they had was Bianca and Becky Lynch. But the idea is, she was brought back at Extreme Rules because they decided at that point that Bianca Belair would be moving to Raw, and they needed someone who would be staying on SmackDown to be involved in the championship feud. They didn't want it to be an all-Raw affair for the championship match. They needed someone from SmackDown. This was why Sasha Banks was brought in. It may be that Sasha Banks takes the pin, keeping Bianca Belair strong to go over to Raw, where it seems very, very much so that Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair will be continuing just on the red brand. Gotcha, Cody. So sorry, not that they need to sell, just NBC seems a realistic choice if they do sell. I get you. Yeah, at this point, the connections of NBC are fairly clear and fairly obvious. Makes the most sense that that would be the case. Sean says, watching this and American football. Nice to hear it, mate. I watched football earlier. We had considered briefly doing some football streams. We have quite... Hello, Connor. We have some quite clear football fans there. I have been looking today, in fact, at a new PC to buy. And because I've been looking at the new PC, I'm definitely planning to go back to a Football Manager stream as well. At least one a week, as per usual. And that will be for the launch of FM22 as well. So when that releases, I should be in place to have Football Manager streams as well. Please do consider jumping in for those when we go live with them too, if you are a football or a sports fan. Cody says that leg gear Sasha wore looked like she was hiding a knee brace. That was my suspicion as well. That was very much my suspicion. It was one of those where just the one leg with the baggy pants over it, that for me screamed hiding a knee brace. I was tracking it the entire show. If you watched the watch along, which I know several of you did, it did very much feel like she was hiding a knee brace, and I was just trying to track it and see if there was any moment when we could actually see it. There wasn't, so it was very well hidden. It may be that that's not the case. It is speculation on our part, but I did get the feeling that that's what was underneath. Yes, Connor, I'm a little bit aware of who you are. You're a regular. Sean says, why don't you see Sasha winning at Crown Jewel? Because someone's got to hand the championship over to Charlotte Flair. And I think that person will be going to Raw. I think Sasha Banks will be staying on SmackDown. That's basically the entirety of my consideration there. That's basically the only reason I think that that is what's going to be happening. You're clearly a fan of Sheamus, Hall of Pain, who earlier was also called WWE Champion. You're clearly a fan of Sheamus, however, he's not going to win every match at all times. Dominic says, are they going to have King of the Ring matches? Yes, there will be King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring matches going into the finals in Saudi Arabia. So they're not going to have the full tournaments in Saudi Arabia. There will be some early matches that happen on Raw and on SmackDown, which gives them, which hopefully gives them a lot of impetus and guarantees them some ratings going forwards. At the minute, that's the only thing they're really focused on, is getting those ratings up, which is why they've been giving away so much on Raw recently. USA and Fox are tracking the ratings numbers for this week. For more on that, I did release a video on that earlier today on YouTube, but they are tracking the ratings because the WWE have made some big promises. Kevin says, good idea to draft Hit Row or give the group more time on NXT 2.0 to get better. I think they could have benefited from more time on NXT 2.0, not Swerve, but certainly the rest of the group could have gained some traction from staying on a developmental brand for a little bit longer. However, they're on SmackDown now. They have a tough job ahead, and the tweets that they've been making recently are not the most encouraging, knowing that they have a quite tough job ahead. Hopefully they manage to sort of get their heads down and see where they go with it. I think they can succeed. I really do. But at the same time, it's a challenge. And it's a challenge that hopefully they will overcome. I don't see them competing for top honors, but Swerve versus Nakamura, that could be a lot of fun. Hit Row versus Boogs, just purely musically, that could be a lot of fun. Cody says, we did the watch along on Love Wrestling too, and I thought it looked like she was favouring that leg a couple times. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there for that one. I was talking about that on my watch along. If you were doing it on yours, I'm glad I'm not alone in having that opinion. I do think the gear was designed to hide a knee brace. So it seems to suggest that there was a minor injury that she was dealing with, and certainly her gear as it's designed, and certainly her gear that she will have for Saudi Arabia, will be more telling. But that one leg came out of nowhere. Connor said, very smart of you, Tom. Always knew you had an eye for things. Well, there's a reason I've got glasses on, tell you that. because I'm blind as fuck. Sean says, do you see Alexa, Damien and Ricochet moving to SmackDown? Yes, no, yes. I think Damien will remain on Raw and he will continue as the United States champion. Probably move a little bit up the card. There are very high hopes for Damien Priest and he's really been deserving of it so far. Alexa, yes, I see her moving to SmackDown. Ricochet as well. I think he could really benefit from a move at this point. Hall of Pain, you basically think everyone should be the next champion. You believe in hot potato, clearly. Jermaine says, I thought that WWE was going to have Charlotte Flair lose the title soon because they want her in and win the Queen of the Ring tournament. Not sure where you heard that, Jermaine. Not sure where you heard that. But yeah, Charlotte Flair has seemingly no interest in becoming a Queen of the Ring. And I don't believe there was any intention to have current champions in the Queen of the Ring tournament. If you've been tracking my reporting, you will know that I did mention that a couple of months ago. When it came to the champions, they would not be in the Queen of the Ring tournament, and I believe that will also be true for the King of the Ring. Based on the faces that we've seen, it seems unlikely at this point. Cody says, I think US and IC could switch shows. Certainly they could. Neither Nakamura nor Priest has been drafted so far. I think Nakamura could do very well, especially if you have someone like Big E, Finn Balor near the top of the Raw card. Seth Rollins as well. But I do feel Damien Priest will be staying on Raw because it's, to put it bluntly, Raw is the domain of Bad Bunny. And at some point, Bad Bunny will be returning and Damien Priest will want to spend some time with his supposed best mate. Michael says, PW Insider reported that it wasn't an injury situation for Sasha, but who knows? That's true, who knows? And that's the thing. PW Insider have got a lot right. They've also got some things wrong. Everyone has. Nobody is 100% a reliable source. Nobody. We've seen that when we've looked at the rumour look back. Everybody at some point has gotten something wrong. That's just what's happened. It's just the case. So nothing for me is 100% certain until the person reporting it is the person who's actually affected by it. That's when it becomes 100%. When I reported that Sasha Banks had not thrown herself on the floor, had a tantrum and cried when she lost the Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania, but instead she was taking a pre-agreed mental health break, the time that was confirmed was when Sasha Banks herself confirmed it in a chronicle. When she herself confirmed it, that is when that was proven true. Not when anyone else reported it, not even when I reported it. It is proven true when it is proven without doubt true. That's the big difference there. I love that. You guys is bouncing off each other a little bit. Kervin says Shane McMahon is finished with the WWE. For now, yes. Shane McMahon does not have a Legends contract. He never has. So, when he is not needed at the company, he signs off. He goes and does other things. He goes and works with other companies. And then around Royal Rumble time, he comes back and says, hi, do you need me for anything? Yeah, okay. Let's work out a deal. It's always short-term deals with Shane McMahon. The idea that he's finished with the company because he's not currently under contract, wide of the mark. This time of year, he's usually not under contract. When he's not on TV, he's usually not under contract because he doesn't want to be paid when he's not doing anything. That's the situation with Shane McMahon. Okay, you've now changed your name to Sheamus Hall of Pain. Jesus Christ, you like changing your name, don't you? Connor says, I report that I like chicken, so it must be true. True. Very true. And don't we all kind of like chicken? Apart from if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, or don't like chicken. Funny. Jermaine says, E-Wrestling News is reporting that Eva Marie was backstage at Smackdown this past Friday night and her arm was in a sling brace, selling the injury. Jermaine, would you mind quickly reading through that report and just confirming that it's definitely E-Wrestling News who are the source of the report? Because I don't believe they actually break news. So if you can just double check that for me, I'd be really appreciative. Thank you. Nia Jax is on Raw, mate. E-Wrestling News also reporting that Nia Jax requested some extended time off, but she was drafted to Raw. Well, I believe she's actively injured. So, not sure where that report came from, but hey, if they're reporting it, they're reporting it. And as I say, what's proven true will be proven true upon her return. let's talk a little bit more about what is coming for night 2 of the WWE Draft. Looking at the information that we have, Raw came out a massive loser on this week's SmackDown. On this week's SmackDown, SmackDown themselves came out the massive winner. And I do believe it is intentionally structured in that way because the winners have to be the networks. So Fox will watch their own show and say, we looked great on that. Whereas on Raw, USA may watch their own show and say, yeah, we looked fantastic there. That is what is coming this week on Raw. This week on Raw, Raw wins. To balance out the win for SmackDown, Raw wins. This means the changes that go from Raw to SmackDown will be lesser than the changes that go from SmackDown to Raw. With this in mind, you look at, for example, Charlotte Flair for Bianca Belair. One of those is worth more right now to the company than the other, Charlotte Flair. With this in mind, I'm looking at the big names that will be going across to Raw from SmackDown. I'm looking at Becky Lynch. And I'm looking at Seth Rollins. Because ultimately, if Raw is going to come out the winner, you need the big names. You can't get the biggest name anymore. Raw's already lost Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has gone to SmackDown. You cannot get the top name anymore. You just can't. With that in mind, you need people who balance that out. With Charlotte going across, the trade for Bianca is not even. A trade for Becky is even. As a counterweight, a trade for Bianca would then be a trade for Shayna Baszler, who I think will be going to SmackDown, or Alexa Bliss, who I also think may be going to SmackDown. A trade for Seth Rollins is a more difficult one. I feel Bobby Lashley will be the trade for Seth Rollins, with the Hurt Business going with him. So I feel that Bobby Lashley and Shayna Baszler will be the top picks for SmackDown, though the Usos are likely to stay on SmackDown as well, based on the current landscape. Pardon me. Based on the current landscape, I think the Usos will be remaining on SmackDown as well. With this in mind, it's interesting that a number of other tag teams have gone across. Otis and Chad Gable, for example, are now on Raw. I do feel that people lower down the card on Raw will be the ones moving to SmackDown. Meanwhile, I would keep my eye on Cesaro. I would keep my eye on Kevin Owens. On Raw, I would keep my eye on Ricochet, Garza and Humberto Carrillo, and others of that ilk. John Morrison, I feel, will go to SmackDown, in a similar move to Jeff Hardy's move to SmackDown. Basically what I'm saying is, the winner for Monday will be the USA Network. They will guarantee that they come out the winners by getting the biggest names that they can from WWE SmackDown. Keep an eye on Becky, keep an eye on Seth. The feud between Seth and Edge seems set to continue, but ultimately, who can actually feud with Big E, with McIntyre gone, with Roman gone, with Finn Balor potentially staying on SmackDown, and I do feel that he will. It doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to not have Seth Rollins there, because Big E needs opponents. He's already beaten Lashley. Lashley, I firmly believe, is going across to SmackDown, so he needs a Seth Rollins. Bianca Belair, I feel, with Charlotte Flair going across, with Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross being the tag team champions, there is a huge gap at the top of Raw on the women's division. A huge gap. Becky Lynch is basically a lock at this point. She has to be. Sean says, do you believe Alexa was behind the report about Sasha laying on the floor crying? No, absolutely not. Says, I know a lot of fans blame her for it and said she told Ryan Satin about it. No, absolutely not. Alexa Bliss does not leak information. I can confirm that 100%. Alexa Bliss is not a fan of most pro wrestling journalists. Also, she and Sasha genuinely don't have a problem anymore. Like, from what I've heard, there wasn't a big problem to begin with. I wasn't aware of a big problem. Certainly from one camp, there was plenty of news saying that there was no issue. No big issue anyway. Thank you, Connor. Appreciate that. Michael says, does Raw pick first? I suspect so, yes. I suspect the ruling will be that SmackDown chose first on SmackDown. Raw will choose first on Raw, which will allow them to get a Becky or a Seth. Becky, I think, will be the number 1 draft pick on Raw. Edge does not need to go back to SmackDown. Edge needed to go to Raw. Michael says, it's been so long since I've been. Lucky for me, YouTube TV and NBC reached an agreement, and I'm not losing USA. That's good news. I know you were very close to losing it. Devon says, do you think Sasha will stay on SmackDown? Firstly, welcome, Devon. And secondly, yeah, I do. Because I think Becky is going to Raw, I feel Sasha will be staying in order to create at least some semblance of security at the top on SmackDown. Because if you've lost Bianca and you lose Becky, you've then got Charlotte, you've got Sasha, and you've got a drop. You've got a firm drop after that, which is one of the reasons I think Baszler's coming across. Cody said, Mason T-Bar split thoughts. Could we see Dijak and Bearcat revisit their feud? I hope so, in exhibition-style matches. I don't think there is any planned storyline for them at the moment. Noob says, unless they leave Paul Heyman for dead if they get drafted to Raw, meaning the Usos, I would imagine. At this point, they just need make-weights, because there are so many big names that are suggested to be going to Raw, that they need people on the other side as well to actually come across to SmackDown. SmackDown basically won so hugely that Raw has to win so hugely as well. Hello, Gleb, how you doing, mate? Saying hello, everybody. Streaming exclusively on YouTube today. Yes, I am, Gleb. As a YouTuber yourself, you will be fully aware that one of the things we need in order to monetize is not just 1,000 subscribers, but also 4,000 hours of watch time. With that in mind, I'm doing a lot more live streams exclusively on YouTube, as well as what I've been doing on Twitch. I, of course, am also, sitting here chatting away to you with the idea being that I had the time to do it today. I would like to do these Sunday night shows regularly. They are a staple of about just over a year ago when they were just a really good show, a nice chilled out stream. So there will be a lot more YouTube stuff as well. Welcome, Gleb. How you doing, mate? The user says, is Sami Zayn's contract up soon? Yes, it is. January time. Kevin says, you see Kevin Owens going to Raw? Potentially. I'm not sure. I think at this point, with his contract so close to being done, I think they may keep him on SmackDown and move someone like Cesaro instead. Sean says, John Morrison was drafted to Raw. Oh, was he already drafted? Ah, shame. The user says, is Total Divas a cancelled show now? No, they are intending to bring it back. They just need to speak to the people that they want in that position. With the people that they want in that position, as in the divas, as it were, they also then need to organise the recording, the filming. That requires less COVID in America, basically. Wow, you're obsessed with changing your name, mate. Kevin says, I wish WWE would fix the women's tag team division because right now it's not good. Keep an eye out for tag team call-ups from NXT to Raw. Look, for example, Io Shirai and... oh, what's her name? I am blanking. I'm sure someone will help me out. I am blanking. Jermaine says, hey Tom, John Morrison got drafted to Raw's past Saturday. Are they trading him to SmackDown now? No, I just forgot. I just forgot and had a chat about it. I just forgot. Connor says, I bet you're happy there's no squats in the stream. Yes, I am. My legs are still killing. Still killing. But I'm sure we can work something out. If once I'm monetized here, we can then look at, for example, Zoe Stark. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Noob. Thank you very much. Zoe Stark. Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. Thank you. Once we get to a point whereby we can monetize on YouTube, we can then look at, for example, super chats and channel memberships and stuff like that and work out what to do for that. But obviously my plan at the minute is to focus a lot on Twitch. Twitch is actively making money, whereas YouTube isn't. If I can get YouTube to that point, then it would be a very good thing because I'd be making money twice for the same content, which is a wonderful thing. Speaking of course, if you are new to the channel and haven't yet clicked subscribe, please do so. We are trying to hit that 1,000 subscribers bit by bit, and we're currently at 715. Also, if you haven't clicked like, please do that as well. That is a great thing that you can do that really helps boost our visibility. Pardon me. It really helps boost our visibility, which can find us new subscribers, increase our watch time that way. Every like could potentially mean 5 or 6 more views on another video, not just this one. It could make a big difference. So I do implore you guys, please do click that like. Our average viewership and the amount of viewers watching is usually just above our amount of likes. So it makes a huge immediate difference please do consider, if you haven't already done so, clicking that like button. Cody says, Street Profits or Usos need to go to Raw. Street Profits are, of course, available, and Bianca Belair has already moved across. So I think, logically, the Street Profits are more likely to move to Raw than the Usos. But once again, we're saying about a lot of teams and people moving to Raw, and not so many moving to SmackDown and balancing it out. Kevin says, if WWE had nothing for Cesaro, what about Cesaro and Sheamus together again on Raw? I wouldn't mind it. I genuinely wouldn't. And right now, it doesn't seem like they do have anything for Cesaro. He's sunk back down the card again on SmackDown. I would like him to swap across. I think he could do really, really good work across on Raw, working with Big E, even just there, working with Damien Priest. There are feuds there for him. Gleb says, not the best, but I'm all right. I'll reach out to you, mate, see how you're doing. Hanging on as much as I can. Did my first live commentary on a New Japan Climax show. First ever Japan show. That was fun. Tell me more, Gleb. Did you dual stream the same way that you do for your League of Legends shows? Because I'm a big New Japan fan. And honestly, I would have loved to hear about that in advance. That's something that, depending on timing, maybe I could jump in there with you at some point. The user says, do you think if Kevin Owens left, would AEW want him? Yes, I do believe they would. At least certain people in AEW would be screaming his name from the rooftops, desperately trying to get management to bring him in, and I would as well, to be completely honest. Jermaine says, the Seth Rollins storyline of Edge kind of hinted at maybe we might be getting a mixed tag match with husband and wife versus husband and wife. Being entirely transparent, I would love that so much. Would love that so much. WWE, if you care about me at all, and I know you don't, but if you care about me at all, just give me that. It's a wonderful, wonderful idea that just leans so beautifully into long-term gorgeousness. Just give me more of that. Cody says to Gleb and to everyone, tonight's G1 show is free on New Japan World. Cody, would you, or basically anyone, I would love it if you guys could tell me which block it is tonight, Block A or Block B. Because I've been watching Block A, but I haven't really caught up on Block B all that much. Noob says, I see Io Shirai leaving Zoe Stark to go to SmackDown. Everyone knows that they want Asuka and Io as a tag team. Does everyone know that? Does everyone know that? I personally haven't heard anything about it. Could happen, but I haven't heard anything personally. Jermaine says, I can see Sami Zayn getting drafted to Raw to continue the storyline with Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Once again, we're talking about a lot of people moving to Raw and not so many people being on SmackDown. We're going a bit too heavy, I feel, at this point. Michael says, does Chad Gable stay in WWE much longer? Yeah, he signed a new contract about a year ago. I think it was about a year ago. For another couple of years. So I think he'll be sticking around a little while longer yet. Cody says, New Day going to SmackDown. That with the Profits and Usos, it seems too heavily loaded. I agree. As I say, I think the Profits are going to be the ones moving on. Which leaves us New Day and Usos at the top of SmackDown. I'm happy with that. Although, to be fair, Usos moving across could also be a lot of fun. Gleb says, no. Just helped out my old media service. Promised to do that to my friend. Fulfill my promise. I suck at wrestling commentary, not going to lie. We could make it work, mate. We could make it work. We could do something. Maybe next year when I'm actually full-time, if I get to full-time by the next year, we could do a whole New Japan thing. That'd be great. I would love that. Sean says, do you still see Ali and Mansoor dethroning RK Bro, or will it be Alpha Academy now? It's harder to pinpoint now. Now, I did predict that Ali and Mansoor would be moving to SmackDown in the mock draft that we did, but I'm still very pleasantly surprised that it actually happened. Still very pleasantly surprised. I think they can do great things on SmackDown. That said, it doesn't really make sense for them now to become the tag team champions unless the current tag team champions, the Usos, move to Raw and we do that championship trade. There's still a lot up in the air, but I certainly think they will have a big match in Saudi Arabia, even if that big match is against the Usos for the SmackDown tag team championships. Connor says, Vince, if you don't book Edge and Beth versus Seth and Becky, you're a naughty Vince. It's a bad Vince. Save that one for Twitch because, as you know, I do the promos there. B block. Okada versus Sonata. Ooh. Evil versus Tamatonga. Yeah. Cobb versus Tai Chi. That's alright. It's alright. A block has been more fun to me, to be honest. Yep, I would agree. As dream matches go, Lashley versus Brock is the one. Brock is a free agent, of course, which means he can float from brand to brand and from card to card. I'm very interested to see the future of Brock Lesnar and what he does. Now he can do basically whatever the hell he wants. Gleb says, I'm open for business proposals. You know how much I enjoy working with you, so I would be happy to work with you again. We could do something very easily when it comes to Twitch. We could do something very easily when it comes to YouTube. We could work something out. Aw, thank you, mate. As I say, I have a great time working with you as well, Gleb. And unfortunately, right now I'm in a very, very busy period because I'm trying to get the YouTube and the Twitch to the top level as quickly as I can. For the reason that I'm on the sports team on Twitch and I'm so close on YouTube. And I have 3 months of opportunity for watch time now where I can really, really focus hard. So that's basically the plan. Gaining subscribers as I can, gaining watch time, which puts us in front of new subscribers, and going from there. Of course, Gleb, you will know about this. You are a YouTuber yourself, and I've got to say, I think I have given you a lot of watch time over the previous few months. I tell you that. I look forward to the return of your League of Legends shows because I need new ones to watch. I need them, and I need them now. Give them to me. I need more. It's not fair. Cody says, Evil versus Tama should be fun with leadership of Bullet Club in the air. Very true, although I believe the leadership should still be Jay White, but Jay White's not there. Jay White's not there. Connor says, I want to see Brock F5 Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce would take it. He'd take that bump very happily. Kervin says, I'll be honest, Roman Reigns versus The Rock for WrestleMania doesn't need the Smackdown Championship because that match can main event without the title. That is very true. Rumours of The Rock coming in at Survivor Series have quietened down. They haven't completely stopped, but they've quietened down. I've got my eye on this one, I tell you that. Gleb says, A-Block was very fun today. Had a few matches I really enjoyed. I'm loving the work of Zack Sabre Jr. I'm a Toru Yano mark until the end of time. It's really hard when you keep changing your name to get to know something to refer to you as and read out your stuff, mate. I'd like to say this person says to sort of put you over a little bit, as I try and do with everyone, so that everyone gets to know each other a little bit, but you keep changing your name. So I can't really do it. Cody says, Jay White's too busy in America recruiting Chris Bay and working with Hikuleo. Not a name that I particularly know myself. But yeah, I know he's not available right now in Japan. He'll probably be back for Wrestle Kingdom. I nearly said Wrestling Kingdom. He'll probably be back for Wrestle Kingdom, which, of course, very much looking forward to. Jermaine says, hey Tom, could the New Day coming to SmackDown mean the Usos go to Raw and Roman has to get involved in the trade for the New Day back to Raw to get the Usos back on SmackDown? Maybe. They've left it nicely and like pleasantly up in the air in a good way, and they should continue with that. What happens on Raw with the Usos is probably one of the most compelling storylines, and that will guarantee them a bit of a boost in viewership. That's what they're after. They're after that ratings boost. Gotcha, Cody. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm a New Japan fan, but I'm not too engrossed in it, to be completely honest. When it's there, I love it. But I have a friend that I regularly watch New Japan with. I just go around to his, or he comes around here. During the pandemic, it was difficult, and I got out of the habit. But now we're back. Gleb says, absolutely agreed. Toro and Zach were just fantastic today. You don't find anyone else like those two in wrestling. You just don't. And Gleb says, also, I personally believe, Tom, you'll nail both Twitch and YouTube. Doing a hell of a work, and it'll be just brilliant. Keep it coming. Thank you, Gleb. Twitch has been really, really good recently. Really fun. And a really good learning experience. This weekend, I've been looking at the machine that I'm going to buy, the PC, which will mean that these streams suddenly jump up in quality. I hope that we haven't had any of the audio problems that we've had over the past few weeks. Hopefully that's gone away. I do believe I fixed it. Let me know if I haven't and I've been doing it completely wrong. But, yes, Gleb, the way I look at it, once I'm reaching a level whereby I can say to people, hi, if you like League of Legends streams, go and follow Gleb. And, you know, they will come over in droves. I want to do that. Because, for example, on Twitch, you only need 50 to reach affiliate. You only need an average viewership of 3 to reach affiliate. If I reach a point at which I can give people that, that is a wonderful, wonderful thing that other people can give to each other. The reason the Twitch platform is so incredible is because of the raid feature and the like that. I know Cody's just, I will get to what you've said, Cody, but you've just immediately reminded me of that, which allows you to go back and forth. I've raided Love Wrestling, I think 10 or 12 times at this point. 10 or 12 times. And I'm trying to like break it up and go to a few more now. But there's other people in this chat right now, including you, Connor, who you came from a raid as well. YouTube, it is easy to find someone new. It is easier to find someone. If you're a fan of League of Legends, your work lab would undoubtedly pop up. But if I can basically say, hey guys, can you go and check this out? And that results in other people gaining traction faster. That's what I want to do. I believe in something called social capitalism, which is a mix of socialism and capitalism. Essentially, you accrue wealth, capitalism, in order to then share wealth, socialism. Now, in this point, social capital is influence. So by gaining subscribers, by gaining followers, you are then able to say to people, let's see what we can do. Let's see how we can make you grow. And that's the hope, that's the plan, that's the dream. So thank you for the kind words, Gleb. Michael says, New Japan was so hard for me to keep up with, but the matches are great. The first time they were doing a count out, I lost my shit. It was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's been counted out. Fucking hell, it's been counted 11, 12. Sorry, what's going on now? Baffling to me. Firstly, that they went 1, 2, 3 and not 1, 2. It was weird. And secondly, they count to 20. You realize when you watch New Japan how indoctrinated you are by sports entertainment? It really is baffling. Jermaine says, I think Shayna stays on Raw, but Asuka gets moved to SmackDown. Plus, I feel Dakota Kai is going to get moved to SmackDown too. Asuka and Shayna, yes, I think are going to SmackDown. Io Shirai to Raw. Dakota Kai, I'm not sure. And Alexa Bliss, I think, is going to SmackDown. Think. Cody says, shout out to Ed for bringing us raiding to your Twitch and helping me discover your content. Absolutely deserved. Ed Fries has been a wonderful, wonderful friend to me and a wonderful mod and aid in my early streaming. I didn't do Raw and SmackDown watch parties until Ed Fries said so. The man has made a huge difference to me. And yeah, obviously also a huge thanks to you, Cody, for coming over and sticking with us and for checking these out. And of course now for coming over to the YouTube as well. I really do appreciate that also. People have been extremely giving. And I feel incredibly blessed by that. I started from scratch. Ed was literally my first follower and my first subscriber on Twitch. Started from scratch, and I'm just trying to do the absolute best I can with that. I really do appreciate everyone who's been here on YouTube, on Twitch, anything of the like. I just appreciate all of you for giving me the chance and giving me the time of day. Connor says, also Twitch has been a good gym experience. Damn right, Connor. Damn right it has. I genuinely feel fitter. Like, genuinely. I'm also, of course, doing my own workouts. But I genuinely feel fitter because you guys have forced me to squat. I've done hundreds of squats because of you guys. Hundreds. Gleb says, really appreciate it, mate. You don't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. I do have to do that because you're a great person who creates great content. You're a thinker. And that's the thing. You need people who, when they're asked a question, think for a moment. Because otherwise you just get people going, oh, it's awful, it's trash, it's crap, I hate everything. What I love about the work that you do is when someone asks you a question, you think, well, thinking from a business sense, thinking from a perspective sense, thinking from this, you lay it out so beautifully. So beautifully. Also, I didn't even know that I loved League of Legends until you, so you take credit for that. The user says, did you see what Buddy Murphy put on Twitter? No. Please tell me more. Sean says, Hugh Jackman said he'd like Keanu Reeves or Channing Tatum to be a successor for Wolverine. Your opinion? Definitely not Keanu Reeves. Way too old at this point. Channing Tatum would be a fun Wolverine, but again, I think he's too built. He's not got that animalistic feel. Wolverine's got an animalistic element to him. That Jackman has that because he's just a bit of a, he's... If he growls, you believe it. Or Channing Tatum, not so much. I feel it'll be someone maybe a little bit darker. Just a little bit darker. Like a Tom Hiddleston, not going to lie. Cody said, Ed and I do our NXT show together. He's an excellent person. Absolutely he is. I was so happy to see that he jumped onto streaming when he could with Love Wrestling. I remember the first time we raided and he clicked follow there. And then suddenly he's presenting shows there. It's absolutely wonderful to see. And I'm so happy for him. Jermaine says, I feel that Liv Morgan will stay on SmackDown but team up with Aaliyah to become a tag team because they are best friends and outside of the ring. That would work. That would definitely work. And SmackDown does need people. Aaliyah never actually wrestled on Raw, but here she is now drafted to SmackDown. WWE Fan 444 says Jeff Hardy is on SmackDown and Roman is on SmackDown. Jeff said he wanted Roman to be the one to end his career, so this could be the final chapter of Jeff Hardy's WWE career. Could be. Absolutely could be. Would make perfect sense. Jermaine says, I believe that Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart stay on SmackDown. Agreed there. A number of people on SmackDown right now will definitely be staying there. I do feel that we may see more women's tag teams, and we have to. Hello, Dean, mate. Welcome. Apologies, Dean. You are one of the regulars from the Raw and SmackDown watch parties that I don't do anymore. Apologies for vanishing as I did, but I essentially had to make the choice between Twitch and YouTube because I'm now on the Twitch sports team. We are going to be doing regular Sunday night shows. So please do check us out if you have the time for those. Sean says, I think Shotzi and Tegan go to Raw since Rhea and Nikki stayed on Raw. I do think they stay on SmackDown, but it's the Women's Tag Team Championships. They go back and forth anyway. Please remind me what it was you said about Otis and Chad Gable, and I'll see if I have missed it. Let me have a quick roll back. Thank you for reminding me. Depends on what you've said. Oh, there's nothing really to respond to there, mate. You've said Otis and Gable are Raw. I prediction this for months. Okay. Well done. Is that what you wanted? Well done. Also, thank you for calling me one of your favourite YouTubers. I do appreciate that. Also, you've said Apollo Crews needs to stay on SmackDown. He's already been moved to Raw, mate. He's already been moved to Raw. Cody says, I want Channing as Gambit still. Why is that movie never getting made? Creative hiatus indeed. He put an emoji of a Joker, says the user. Anybody currently as a free agent would be very, very smart to make as many AEW references as possible to get people talking about you. It's clever, and it should be happening. Michael says, predictions for the top 2 overall picks tomorrow. So I'm going with Raw, Becky Lynch. SmackDown, Bobby Lashley. Raw, Seth Rollins. SmackDown, Shayna Baszler. That is my predictions for the first 4 picks. That's what I'm going with. Sheamus is not going to main event WrestleMania, mate. WWE Fan 444 says it would be nice to see Jeff beat Roman, hold on to the title for a while and then lose it back to him, then try to regain it with his career on the line and lose. I don't think Jeff Hardy will be winning another WWE Championship. I'm going to be really blunt. I don't think he's ever going to really get another opportunity. I just don't. I think the only reason WWE are keeping hold of him is so that other people can't. And that sucks. But that's what I think is happening. Cody says, like Buddy and Jonah both teased as Ospreay's mystery partner who ended up being TJP. Yeah, that was a disappointment compared to what we could have had. But it's clever. It is clever. Gleb says, the return Becky, Michael, since I really don't dig this new pissed off gimmick. I feel like the man gimmick was much more enjoyable. And if Becky goes to Raw, I do think she will let go of the heel elements. But we'll see. We'll see. Sean says Shayna would be picked over Sasha. Maybe. Maybe it will be a case of them keeping Sasha at that point. It's a fair shout. Sasha is definitely of a higher caliber, as it were, than Shayna. But, I don't know. That was my prediction. Kervin says, no update about AEW Brian Cage. There's no update to have, mate. There's no update to have. He's ruffling a few feathers. They're not particularly happy, but they don't want to be seen as being similar to WWE. They don't want to be seen like that. All right, we have just gone past an hour. Quick talk about the future of these streams. Monday, Friday, 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. EST. I will be doing previews of Raw and SmackDown for roughly an hour. I will be continuing doing them. I really enjoy them. I also want to continue doing these Sunday shows. We get a great turnout, we get a great community, and a great load of questions asked. I will be, this week, purchasing myself a streaming PC, which will be much higher quality. Much higher quality. With that should come an increase in the audio quality and the physical appearance. The stream is looking like this because I've got rid of a few things that would have been here from the Twitch stream. But I will be making changes. I don't want it this lopsided. I just don't. So I will be making changes. And we'll go from there. Those will be coming in the next few weeks. So you've got those to look forward to. WWE fan says, I feel like Bobby Lashley should have a Val Venus type gimmick. Well, he called him Booby, so that's a bad start. Do you remember that time where he just sort of slapped his own arse for a while? That was weird. Gleb says, I mean, I don't have a lot of problems with the heel elements. I just feel like we've missed the Becky Lynch, and that's what they should have given us. Don't know, maybe about the duck syndrome. I'm not aware of the duck syndrome. Tell me more. Jermaine says, if Shayna is coming to SmackDown, that means Charlotte Flair and Shayna will be the top heels on SmackDown. Sasha becomes the top babyface on SmackDown, along with Asuka, to balance it out. Yeah, basically that's how I see it going. And I would really enjoy that. Really enjoy that. So we have gone past the hour, so I'm going to wrap it up at this point. Thank you, huge thank you to everyone who joined, everyone who clicked like. If you haven't yet, please do remember to click subscribe. Even though I'm wrapping up, please do continue to put like on the video. And that, as I say, will help this video find an audience after we close it up here. And that helps me grow, helps me with my watch time, which is a mission that we are on at the moment. So you're going to get free shows on YouTube live every week. Please do continue to tune in, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon. In the meantime, we will be live tomorrow, 6 p.m. UK time for a Raw preview, 10 p.m. UK time for our Twitch show, spoiler warning, and for the Raw watch party. Once I'm no longer a part of the Twitch sports team, I will then be looking at dual streaming again. Thank you, everyone. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I will see all of you very soon.